Hey, what's up, you stupid idiots? It's the Angry Baker here, and today we're going to make one of my specialties, homemade Oreos. Only they're not really like Oreos. They're much better, they're much thicker, and they're much more of a heart attack on a plate. These chocolate cookies with white filling are so great, you won't even believe it. Now, I know usually somebody like you'd be too stupid to make a recipe this good, but I'm going to break it down into simple steps so easy that even a retard could understand, okay? So just keep watching, follow along, maybe replay it a few times, take some notes, and maybe, just maybe, you can be as good as me, the Angry Baker. Alright, keep watching, you jerk off. Alright, listen up, you numbskulls. Preheat your oven to 190 degrees Celsius. And don't ask me what it is in Fahrenheit, because I don't have time to tell you. Alright? And don't forget to preheat the oven, or you're going to screw up the whole recipe, just like you always do. Okay, listen, over here in the oven rack, middle of the oven. Don't cry to me later when you set up the oven rack on the top and go, oh, why didn't my recipe come out? How come my cookies are all burnt? Middle of the oven, you moron. Finally, take your pan and line it with parchment paper. Don't be using any of that spray-on pan. That has no place in a real baker's kitchen, alright? And if you try and grease your pan, you're only going to mess up the taste of my otherwise perfect recipe. Now listen close. Put parchment paper on there. It's the only thing that works. If you don't have parchment paper, just turn off this video right now. You're too much of a loser to even go any further, okay? Next I'm going to go to the ingredients. Okay, you numbskulls, listen up close. So I'm only going to say this one time. We got to get all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, vanilla, unsalted butter. Don't be an idiot and use your regular butter. Unsalted, or else it's going to be ruined. Alright? Listen up close. Buttermilk. I want real buttermilk. If you come back from the store with 1% buttermilk or reduced fat buttermilk, you're not going to be allowed to watch my videos anymore. And most important, right here, Dutch-Processed Unsweetened Cocoa. This one's imported from Holland. If you want to get some that's from America, that's fine. But listen to me. Make sure it says right on it, right there, Dutch processed. If you try and use that Hershey's cocoa crap, it's going to ruin it. Alright? Now you listen up close. I also want you to get some powdered sugar, light corn syrup, dark corn syrup. Get out of here. That stuff's crap. Crisco shortening. There's going to be a lot of this in this recipe because this recipe is going to stop your heart. And also, finally, baker's sugar. Get out of here with this granulated sugar. It's garbage. Listen, you want to be a real baker? Listen to me. Also, an egg. Room temperature, baby. We're not going to pull it out of the fridge, okay? Same thing with the buttermilk. It's going to be sitting there out. Room temperature. Finally, secret ingredient. Half a cup. Super strong coffee. Get the coffee ready, make it double strength. It has to be lukewarm by the time we're ready to mix it in. Okay? That's your ingredients. Don't screw it up! Alright, let's move on to step one, you morons. Pay attention. I'm only going to say this one time, okay? We got all of our dry ingredients over here in a separate bowl. We got 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour and 3/4 cups of that Dutch-processed cocoa I was talking about earlier. And listen, I'm not kidding around when I'm telling you to use the Dutch-processed. If you don't use Dutch-processed cocoa, it's totally going to screw this recipe up. Alright? It's alkaline-based when it's Dutch-processed. None of the Hershey's cocoa, the Ghirardelli, it doesn't have it. You got to get the Dutch-processed. Now listen, you're going to put a teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and don't mix those two up. Also, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and you're going to sift them together. This isn't Toll House cookies, okay? You're not just going to throw them all into a bowl and set aside. You're going to take a whisk, and you're going to spend the time to whisk them together. Why? We want them to be perfectly uniform. We're making a piece of art here, not just some stupid dessert, all right? Do as I say. Alright folks, look at this now. We're going to move over here to your big bowl and we're going to take 3/4 cups of your unsalted butter. That's 1 1/2 sticks for you high school dropouts who don't know how to add. And we're going to take 3/4 cups of the baker's sugar, okay? We're going to put it here in the big bowl. You're going to take a big spoon, maybe a spatula, and you're going to whip that sucker like it owes you money, alright? Beat it up until it's soft and creamy. And if I catch you wimping out and using an electric beater for this part of it, I'm going to call your mommy to come pick you up from kindergarten because you're too lame for baker's school, okay? Whip it by hand. Do it now. Okay, jumping ahead here, I've already beat my sugar and my butter. Look how creamy it is. There's no electric mixer marks on this bowl. It's beautiful. I'm a freaking artist. All of you just want to be like me. That's why you're watching this video. Listen up. Take this egg. It's at room temperature, just like the butter is. That's why it was so easy to beat. Put the egg in there, okay? Whip it all together. Then, after that, whip in the vanilla. 1 teaspoon, okay? I'll do it by hand. Mix it together. Do it now. Alright now, pay close attention because otherwise you're just going to screw it up like you do every time. I've got my butter here and my sugar. It's been whipped by hand. I put the egg in. I whipped that in. Then I did the vanilla. I did them one at a time like you're supposed to. If you just put them in at both time, too late. You've already messed up. You might as well throw it in the garbage. Alright? Listen over here. Here's the sifted dry ingredients I had from earlier. This bowl, it's a ½ cup of super strong coffee and a ¼ cup of that pure buttermilk. Alright, now listen up. Make sure the coffee is lukewarm at best when you put it in. If you put hot coffee into this butter, you're going to melt your butter. And then guess what? Your recipe's ruined, just like it always is, you stupid moron. Now listen closely. I'm going to mix a little bit of the flour, then a little bit of the coffee and buttermilk, a little bit of flour, a little bit of coffee and buttermilk, at least 3 of each. Mix them in one at a time right there in the butter by hand. If you, once again, electric beaters are for pussies. Alright, look at that. That's beautiful. See what I did there? I ended with the flour. If you use the coffee, when you're doing the coffee flour, if you do the coffee last, it's going to be runny. But look at this. I did the flour last, and it's beautiful. It's nice and thick. Oh, yeah. Now, some idiots would tell you this part, put it in the fridge, let it firm up. Screw that. It ruins the whole point of having everything at room temperature. We're going to take this now. It's going to be a huge mess. Get a big spoon, or maybe even get like an ice cream scooper. We're going to scoop up some big scoops onto our parchment paper. I'm not going to videotape it. It's a mess. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, here we go. I spared you guys the drama of seeing me trying to make these perfect little scoops here, but let me tell you, these are perfect. They may not look perfect, but they're perfect, alright? Don't argue with me. You take, they make these scoops about, you know, like a big heaping tablespoon, maybe just a little bit bigger. Space them out about 2 inches. They're going to shrink a little bit. We're going to bake them in the oven for about 9, maybe 10 minutes until they look baked. And then when you touch the top of them with your finger, they spring back just a little bit. If you cook them for too long and you burn them, don't come crying to me. 9 to 10 minutes. I didn't say 11. I didn't say 12. 9 to 10 minutes. Do it right. For crying out loud. Can't you do anything right? 9 to 10 minutes. Jesus. You guys are idiots. Okay, it's been about 9 or 10 minutes. Let's open it up. And of course, they're perfect. Just like I told you they should be. Perfect. Look at this. Give them a little touch. Oh, springy. Okay, take them out of the oven, you morons. Put them onto a wire rack to cool them. Let them cool completely, and now we're going to make the middle part. The part that makes them extra special. The whole reason you're watching this video is the next part, so stay tuned.